Welcome back to another ep, guys. Steve from Stavjet. Today's ep, something different on the channel. So if you're new to the channel, please give it a like and subscribe. We'll do some more content on this car. This is my brother's car actually, so I'm helping him, and I thought we'll make a video of it for you DIYers out there. Doing the Haltech Elite Pro plug-in on this with the wideband sensor, and we're setting up engine protection. So we've got fuel pressure and oil pressure sensors, so we'll be going through the entire wiring, setting it all up, and getting a base map so up and running, so that way you can install the Haltech wideband sensors and then drive it to your tuner to finish off. So now we're up to the wiring bit. It comes with some the auxiliary connector pin out, and then you can select what you want. So we're going to be using one DPO. This is going to be for the fuel pump or additional fuel pump trigger. We're going to be using two AVIs, one for the fuel pressure, one for the oil pressure. We're going to be using one DPI. This is going to be for the flex fuel. So you'll see here a bit of a hack wiring diagram, but we're going to be using one 6-pin DTM, one 3-pin, one 2-pin, and one 8-pin for some spares. Yeah, so now we'll get stuck into the wiring. Always give them a tug test. That's all good.
What size wire are we using?
So we're doing 18 gauge for 12 volt and 5 volt, and then we're gonna split it out into 20 gauge wires out to the sensors and so forth. Alright, so you'll find once you've crimped the strain relief terminals at the back, alright, you'll find that you will need to round them up, because when you go to install them in the super seal connector, you'll find when you go to install it in, that went in easy. Alright. Now to get it out. But sometimes you'll find if it's not going in all the way, it'll be that back one. Alright, so just round it up a bit. Alright, so we're going to use pin 3, which is 12 volt. We're going to use 5 volt supply, pin 9.
And what sensor is this for?
So this is 5 volt, for the 5 volt for all your pressure sensors or stuff that requires 5 volt. Alright, so that's sorted there. And then what we're going to now do is we're going to branch out some 5 volt 20 gauge runs. Now, how many did we need? We're using, so we're going to need 4 of these. That's all sorted there. That's not going anywhere. And then what we'll do is we'll put some heat shrink over that, and then we'll heat shrink it like that, so it's got a bit of strain relief on the wire there. So that's sorted. Happy with that. Alright, now flex and one for fuel pump. So you'll see I've used some filler wire with this one because for the crimp it wouldn't have crimped nice, so sometimes you just need to put some filler wire in these crimps.
So what are these 3 wires for?
So these ones, so there's only 2, right? So that's coming out, that's the feed, and then it's joining out to these. So one's going to go to your flex to power up the Innovate gauge. One is going to the fuel pump to trigger the relay ignition on. So now what we're doing is we're going to do the signal ground. And now we're going to have how many signal barrels we needed? 4. So now we're up to, we're gonna plug the wideband O2 connector in. So that's pin 18 to 23. So 18, 19, 20. So white goes into 18, and just like that. Make sure you feel it click, and then you want to see them come through there.
Talk us through the numbers and colours again.
Alright, you want to take out the little slugs that they put in there. You're taking out 18 all the way to 23. So grey 18, 19 yellow, 20 red, 21 black, 22 white, 23 green. Once you're done, click these 2 little locks in while you work on the rest of the harness. So that way, none of these come out while you're doing it. AVIs, I'm going to do yellow. So we'll do 4 of these up. So now I've cut out or chopped up. AVI is going to be yellow, DPO blue, DPI to the flex fuel will be white. Cutting back the insulation. We're using 20 gauge for all this. There we go. All the sensor stuff and the spare, so we've got 2 spare AVIs, and then we've got the other wires all crimped together. So when you're pinning in, you need to click that with your nail, and then you'll see the 2 little tangs. If they're up, it's unlocked and you can push them through. AVI 1 is 24. So this one here. And AVI 2 is pin 25. This is going to be DPO, so we're going to do DPO 1. DPO 1 for the auxiliary fuel pump.
Which one's this going in?
So this is going in pin 10, which is DPO 1 output. And then we've got one more, which is the DPI for the flex, is going to pin 5. Alright, so now, once we've pinned that, lock them. Alright, so I'm trying to push them in and it's not going in. That means one of these is not seated correctly, and if you have a look, it looks as though it's the O2 one, or it looks like it's some over here, and one of the wideband. And now let's click it. Still, something is not liking it. Ah, it's this one. There we go. Alright, so was that one down there. Now ready? Boom. That's locked in now. Yank on that, nothing's gonna come out. Alright? So there you go. That is now completely pinned for what we're gonna be using. Alright, so now we'll go ahead, as this is in the engine bay, we're gonna put these little waterproof slugs back in to all the empty slots. And that way, no water will get through into the ECU. So what we've done is we've just put some sleeving, and just to protect, because this actually sits pretty close to the guard, this wiring. So I've tucked it up there, given everything some strain relief there, and I'm going to have that running, because how this is mounted in the guard is like that, for instance, and then this harness like that, and then this harness goes like that. Alright, so and then we're going to run that, so that way it's nice and flush there. So now what we're doing is we're just separating the bundles, pressure sensor, that little bit, flex, and then your spares and the auxiliary fuel pump. So what happens, for instance, if you had multiple pins of the same, so let's say we had 4 2-pin breakouts, a couple of 6-pin, what I'll do is I'll have some male 2-pins and then some female 2-pins to break it up, so that way when you're opposing the connectors, they'll lock in. With this, or you can always label each end, but with this, because they're all different, we'll all use the same pins on one side, because you won't be able to mix and match and mix them up, if that makes sense.
What's like the most annoying part about it?
Probably
what is something that you just like, oh, seams. This looks like a...
When you're working with like cars that are filthy dirty.
The wiring's all cooked?
Nah, just like oily engine bays and greasy engines and parts and whatnot. That's the worst, because wiring is actually a clean job, what we're doing now, right? Fresh harness. But when you're just adding on stuff and need to go through a firewall and sensors, and engine bay's filthy with oil and grease, that's one of the pains. Another one, probably crimping, man.
What are you doing right now?
Yeah, I feel like my hand's gonna get arthritis in a couple of years. And it's my right one as well. I should mix them up, but I never do. I just feel like I'm more efficient with my right hand. Alright, so there we go. All crimped, connectors all put on. Got to put the locks in once you've and that's practically now the auxiliary harness done. Alright, now we've put this on. We've put the used Super Seal little waterproof slugs that we took out of the ECU connector, and we've just reused them. So this will be the spare if you ever need to. Alright, so what we'll do, now we're ready to install the Haltech ECU. This first. Now you'll see there's a keyway here, so it'll go something like this. There we go. Not going anywhere. Done. Beautiful. And make sure it hooks in. with those controllers. And you hear that click and it's good.
So what are we doing here?
Just getting a nice length for the pressure sensor loop.
So what's this plug for?
The oil fuel pressure harness that we're doing. Alright, so oil pressure harness. There we go. Got the 90-degree boots. Now we'll go ahead and crimp the pressure sensor connected on. So that's fuel pressure, oil pressure all sorted. And I think that came up pretty clean. What do you reckon?
Very clean.
I think that came up mad. Alright, so we're at the end of the video. Finally got the videographer actually doing some work this time. So I set him the task of at least doing one thing. Yeah? Cheers.
Just the one.
Cheers, mate. So that's it, guys. DIY Haltech install. Hopefully you've learned a couple of things, how to go about it, doing it yourself if you want to tackle the wiring. We've covered a lot. So we've covered the making the braided lines, the sensor block, sensors. Yeah, we've installed everything. Everything's all fit up. Beautiful. I'm happy. So we got the DUH connectors here, and then we've got all the flex and whatnot.